And be talking about how to create a basic BC sales order from Excel to BC. Once you are in SmartConnect, you're going to head to the Data Sources tab and create a data source. So if you are doing Excel like me, it will just be this Excel file. Otherwise, you'll have to find the data source that you are using. So I'll just call this one test orders video. And then I do have this one set up right here, just as sales order. Once I go in there, select sheet 1 and preview, make sure everything looks good, and it does. That is what we are expecting. So once you have that set up, you can hit save, and that will create a data source, and then you can actually go to the integrations tab and start creating your integration now. Once you are in here, you can go to integration ID and give it whatever name you like. So I'm going to do BC sales orders video, and then I'll give it the description test. Doesn't matter what's really in there. So now on the source and destination, you're going to want to select file and folder. On data sources, you're going to want to go and find that test orders for video or whatever you called your data source. And now this is the important part. Under data source key, you're going to want to find two unique fields, or not two, but a unique field. In this case, I'm going to have 2 so that it previews correctly here, has all of our data, which is good. We will come back to these data source keys, so make sure you make a note of that. Finally, we can move past the source and destination to the destination type, and we are just going to Business Central. So now I'll have to select our Business Central connection that we have set up already. I'm just going to use Central Business, and services, we're going to select sales order. So it is important that you have a Business Central connection set up. There are other videos and documentations out there if you need to learn how to do that. So yeah, once you have your connection and service set up, make sure you click include linked entities, and that will bring in your sales order lines. But once you have that, basically everything is set up and we just need to map it out. So in sales order, we'll just map out a few key fields here. So I'll do a sell to customer name, and to map it, all you do is have to left click and drag it over here, and it's as simple as doing that. And I'll just do that for a couple other fields here, and after that we can move on to the sales order lines. So you can just see I am searching and dragging, which is pretty easy to do. You can also find them in this long list over here just by scrolling, but if it's too long, you might not find it as you are trying to. So yeah, just a couple more over here. I'm going to fill in, and then we can move on to the next part. That should be good for now. I'll go ahead and close this one out. But we can actually click update existing if you want that to update records if they already exist. And if you have that, you will need to group your data. So this is what I was mentioning earlier. The key fields, you want to make sure you're grouping on the same key fields. So sell to customer name and order date is what I had. So make sure you have both of those grouped here. Preview, you can see it actually groups on the name and then the order date, which is exactly what we want. So now moving on to the sales order lines. This will be a very simple mapping, as we are just going to map the no to the no, and then the quantity to the quantity. I have to search that one though. And this one we don't actually want to group on, since we want every single line to process. We don't actually want update existing, so that it doesn't group on all of them, which is how it is set up, which is good. So it will run through every single line and add every single sales order line. Once you have done that though, it is ready to run, and I will show you what it looks like once it has successfully run. Record count 3, that's what we were expecting. Even though we have more lines, they will show up in Business Central. So now if I go into here and then refresh, usually it would let me in. There we go. Maybe I just had to double click on it. But yeah, you can see all those line items are in here, and all the quantities and the actual knows, and then it actually automatically fills in all the rest of these if there are items already in Business Central, which is what we wanted, and everything else was set up here correctly. And that is basically it for setting up in SmartConnect.